In this week's Director's Take, which is Aaron Keller, the game director, he gave his thoughts on a bunch of things today, which is Season 7, what's happening in BlizzCon, the SSERAFIM and Overwatch collab, and a little teaser from the Roadhog rework. Let me read it out to you guys and break it down. Aaron Keller says, "We've had guest writers for the last two Director's Takes, but I'm back this week looking at Season 7, how it started, how it's going, and what we can look forward to as it progresses." Also, they use a nice picture of Imperious Reinhardt, which is kind of a really nice skin. It's in the shop right now. Okay, Aaron Keller says, "This season marked the release of our latest Sombra rework. The hero keeps the same hacker fantasy that she's always had, but her playstyle is more active and engaged than it was previously. She also received a new ability, Virus. We've seen a lot of different takes on the rework and her new kit online, from dramatically overpowered to dramatically underpowered. But when you look at the data, she's trending in a great direction. Sombra's win rate quickly jumped 4 to 5%, with it being slightly higher at lower tiers and bottoming out in Masters and above around 46 to 47%. 47% doesn't look that good, I'm gonna be honest with you, chat. That still kind of implies she's a little weaker at the high ranks, which I agree with, and I'll get more of my thoughts on Sombra and after I finish this paragraph here. People are still playing her quite a bit. Something we always observe with reworks or hero releases is a big spike, right, to try her out, and then folks go back on their mains. Sombra looks stickier initially and hasn't been followed by the same drop-off. Perhaps she's become a new main for players? Question mark. We're mostly happy with where she's at as players get accustomed to her, but we are looking at the effectiveness of EMP and the frequency of her cooldowns." I don't know what your thoughts are, chat, and the comments below with people watching this, but my thoughts playing against Sombra, I've only had one game in GM1 in North America where I felt Sombra was really strong, but that was because they ran a full composition around it. They had Doomfist, Tracer, Sombra, Lucio, Moira. They all just 3-2-1. Doomfist went in, Tracer jumped me, Sombra unstealth virused me, and that was a miserable experience. I got absolutely stomped in that game. Granted, there was a couple of Overwatch League players in the game, but that was it. Every other Sombra game I played against at GM1 has not felt that bad to play against. So you know how Aaron is saying dramatically overpowered, dramatically underpowered? I actually think she's a little underpowered at top 500. I was gonna give it some time, like, you know, some players I had to get used to the new Sombra, right, and her new playstyle, so maybe they weren't executing their unstealth, their virus, their rotations as well, but high-level players can pick up heroes pretty quick. As a support player, I've also learned how to play against it a little bit. So like I said, the only time I had problems with Sombra, like getting rolled by her, was that one time they ran a comp around her. Any other time I played against Sombra at GM1, it's like a person playing Sombra by herself trying to do the Tracer roll. Well, they don't run a comp that, you know, synchronizes or synergizes with it. It's like a random, like, Orisa Bastion, but then a random Sombra as their other DPS. And then if she doesn't, like, you know, come out of stealth and take the correct timing on her approach to kill me in the backline, I'm actually able to play around it pretty easily, and she's a lot easier to chase down. She's not as slippery as she used to be, because if I play Kiriko, I just Suzu. If we have a Brig, we just health pack it. There's a lot of ways to counter it. It doesn't feel that bad because we can respond to the virus, we respond to the unstealth. And if we look at the data, it says it's actually higher at lower tiers, which makes sense because players ignore a lot of flankers a lot of the times, and they just, if they get hit by a virus, it's very easy for low rank players to completely, you know, 200 to 0 the 200 HP heroes as a Sombra. For me, if I play against a Sombra, I'm very hyper aware of her playstyle, and that's how you, like, you know, you have to do that. So it's definitely bottoms out in Masters, and this is actually not great. So when I was saying how every time I played Sombra against Sombra, where it was like the Sombra, random Sombra in like a brawl comp, which didn't really fit the role, it feels like Tracer is just a better, can do her job better in that sense, because Tracer's picked a lot in GM1 and high level play because they're able to, they have better reliable mobility, and a good Tracer can, like, you know, one clip and you know, be very annoying with off angles and side pressure, and has an easy escape with recall. She's a lot safer, and also there's, like, you know, 6 years of Overwatch for them to, like, get accustomed to Tracer, of course, so there's also playtime as a factor. The point is, the random Sombra is trying to fill the Tracer role, and it just feels like it's not as effective as just simply playing Tracer if you're going to play it in a comp that isn't built around it. So if you want to play Sombra at the high level, I feel like you need a comp built around her. It's a different case in the lower ranks because people, again, just get rolled by it, and that's my thoughts on the rework. I think she's fun to play as a Sombra player, but she's just not as effective in high rank. So I'll probably play her in quick play, but, like, I'm not going to play her in ranked or anything like that, you know what I mean? We're also going to be releasing an update to Roadhog this season, including a reworked primary fire, changes to Take a Breather, and adding an all-new ability, Based on quite a few last-minute tweaks to the kit, he won't make our mid-season patch, but instead it'll be coming later in the season. So still in the season, but not in mid-season, because originally I was anticipating, they originally did say mid-season, which is about 4 to 5 weeks after the launch, which was about a week and a half ago. So we're slated for around early November to second week of November. This might be like a late season edition. They've done this once in like season 2 because they were able to implement like a late hotfix patch. So this is going to be mid to late November, near the tail end of like the last 2-3 weeks, I'm assuming. Okay, so a reworked primary fire, that's interesting. Wonder what they're going to do there. Take a breather changes, probably making it more of a team tanking based ability is what I can assume. And the new ability, I have no idea where they're going with this. If this is a tease, it's very bare bones and it's very up for interpretation. Now on to balance. We're happy with the overall state of balance in Season 7, but let's get into a little more detail based off our stats community feedback. We've seen a lot of talks around supports and the rising power level in the meta. We're making a series of changes to many of the support heroes in the game for the mid-season patch, with the intent of targeting their utility and opening up windows of vulnerability. We want to be careful here in order to avoid some of the feelings of helplessness that supports had at launch, but we want to lower some of the overall sustain and survivability that's present in the game currently. We're also seeing a lot of talk around Orisa, Zarya, and Bastion. From a stats perspective, Orisa isn't one of our top performing tanks. That spot goes to Reinhardt at the lower skill tiers and then Sigma at the high end. This could be one of those cases where she feels frustrating to play against, but isn't actually giving the same value to her team. We did make a small tweak to her at the start of Season 7, and we're currently in a wait and see with her. We're also planning a slight nerf to Bastion's assault form for the mid-season patch. The mid-season balance patch will include the changes to support and quite a few others, and will be roughly comparable in size to the balance patch at the start of Season 7. We'll get into more detail in the next few weeks as we get closer to release. Okay, so with the way they're going with balance on supports, obviously if you guys keep up with Overwatch news, there's a lot of people complaining that supports are overpowered, support creep is real, they have too much sustain, too much invulnerability, which I sort of agree with. I am a support player, so like I'm obviously a little biased. I'm enjoying support. It certainly doesn't feel as bad as tank or DPS or anything like that. I do feel very effective on all the offensive based support heroes, which I play. I play a lot of Baptiste, Ana, Kiriko, Zen, some Malari as well. But it seems like Aaron Keller's, they're going to be tackling changes for supports in the midseason to utility and opening up windows of vulnerability. That says to me, Baptiste Lamp probably getting nerfed. Kiriko Suzu probably getting nerfed. What else is annoying and vulnerable? Maybe any sort of invulnerability might be tackled. Maybe Life Grip, although there's not that much Life Weaver being played at the high levels. A lot more certainly than his release, but I think the biggest issues is probably Baplamp, Kiriko Suzu. Some people are saying maybe Pylon in the chat. Also maybe Ana Nade as well. Don't think they're actually going to look at the support passive. They just nerfed it from 1.5 to 2 seconds. Nerfing the support passive even more is another like blanket nerf, but this seems rather specific on what they're targeting, which is utility. Excuse me. So Ana Nade, Pylon, that does make sense. Maybe Tree of Life as well. Maybe not so much there. So what other supports have utility that are problematic? It's mostly just those like Ana and Bap and Kiriko probably that people have like issues with, in my opinion. So maybe those three. And this one's interesting. Orisa isn't one of the top performing tanks. They only nerfed Fortify by 5%, which isn't actually that much. I still see Orisas, but like you can see like people really draw their own conclusions when they play against an Orisa. It's like, oh, they play Orisa, she's unkillable, it's GG, we lose every time or something like that, which obviously isn't even the case at all. There's no such hero that has a 100% win rate. It's just very like reactionary, emotional, in the moment reaction to certain heroes. Same with Bastion, like they have a Bastion, oh, we lose for sure, you know, but like I'm sure Bastion's still performing pretty well because it makes other tanks unplayable, but like, and when I say unplayable, that's also like a little bit of a stretch as well. It's annoying. You have to play against the windows of opportunity. So when they're saying they're going to slight nerf to Bastion's assault form, it's probably telling me it's a longer cooldown to transform. That's my interpretation of it. Basically a bigger window of vulnerability to punish him when he's not in that form. Or maybe they are nerfing the damage to it, but like, I don't know, Bastion's kind of like, for me. I don't mind him that much, probably because I'm not a tank player. I'm a Baptiste player, and I can pretty much like 100 to 0 Bastion if he's not looking at me, because he's hard to miss because he's got a big hitbox. maybe a little less HP. Who knows? Because he's already got the Ironclad passive. But no, excuse me. They already removed the overhealth healing from the transformation, so I take it back. Maybe not. But my first thought is probably just lower the cooldown on the increase the cooldown on the transformation, so it doesn't feel like he's always in that form where he's the most punishing. Or maybe it lasts a shorter period of time. That's also two ways to tackle it. So you have to think with your head a little bit. A lot of people complain about Bastion, but they try to all in when he's in transform state. In what world as a Winston do you jump into a Bastion that hasn't transformed? You have to wait. Now, another argument could be made, like, there's no time to do it because, like, you know, he always has the form. It's always ready. The team fight, there's so much support healing that the fight lasts long enough that he's able to transform again before, like, you know, you try to capitalize. So that's why I'm thinking maybe you nerf the time to transform and force him to play in his the recon form a little bit longer, where he's arguably a lot weaker. So that's my take on that. Halloween Terror, which has always been the most popular event in Overwatch, and this year was no exception. We released a totally new game mode in Season 7 with the Trials of Sanctuary. It's one of the first times we've given players the ability to gain power as well as new abilities over the course of a game. We love the mode, and it looks like players do too. On the first day of the season, over 35% of all player hours were spent on our Halloween modes. We're talking about what an expanded version of this mode could look like and a way to get even more progression and player choice. I didn't mind this year's event, the Diablo one, but I certainly liked Wrath of the Bride a lot more. Some people had opposite opinions where they enjoyed this Diablo leveling up style a bit more, but my criticism of this year's Halloween Terror, simply because they set the standard with last year's Wrath of the Bride. This year's Trial of the Sanctuary, it's all in just that one tail end of Blizzard World, and you just pick like a staircase or a section, you let the mobs come to you. It's just like another Endless Wave or Junkenstein's Revenge on Eichenwald, where you just stand in that small area and you take a bunch of fights. The reason why I liked Wrath of the Bride is because it felt dynamic. You had to move throughout the entire Eichenwald in the other one, and each boss had its own mechanic and different area you fight in and different stuff. I remember the Echo teleports you to a room. The Sigma, you know, you have to like avoid the tornadoes a little bit. The Sombra at the end of the Wrath of the Bride was cool. The fight in the beginning as well, where you have to use Ash's coach gun as a stun. The whole PvE teamwork aspect was a lot more apparent in Wrath of the Bride, but you know, this Trials of the Sanctuary is just power up and just like, you know, you have so much HP, you have so much damage. Everything is just gazillion HP damage sponges. Like if you play the new mode on Legendary, that Orisa has so much damn HP. Not that annoying. Maybe it's annoying if she rolls like the wall and like the freeze, or what's the annoying one? Oh, the bubble, sorry. When the Orisa gets the bubble, it's like, oh god. And she has so much HP. It's just like Diablo, but maybe that's what they're going for. It gets to a certain point for me where I'm just like, this thing is not dying. And there's like no real threat to it. At least it didn't feel like it. So I didn't grind for 5 stars or top of the leaderboard this year like we did last year. I know Seagull, I played with Flats, Emong Seagull last year for Wrath of the Bride. We grinded and we got rank 1 score at the time. It was like day 1. We played for like 10 hours. It was a lot of fun. This time we played 3 rounds and Seagull's like, this is boring, I'm out. And then we haven't gotten the group back together. We cleared it on Legendary and like that was it, because it's just not the same as last year. So the expectation was here. Maybe they can match Wrath of the Bride, but it disappointed a little bit. Halloween isn't our only event this season. We have several more exciting moments coming in October and November. We just announced our collab with SSERAFIM yesterday, and I can't wait to share more. If you don't know who this is a girl group, K-pop group. Very, very popular. I remember when I saw the name of this, I was like, what the heck is a SSERAFIM? But it's actually an anagram for I'm Fearless. You can probably blame their agency for coming up with that name. But like, it's okay. It's like, yeah, it's an all right name, sure, SSERAFIM. And they're very popular. So even if you don't like K-pop, like having collaborations with a very popular group is great for global marketing. You tap into a whole new audience. They say they can't go into details for now, but this is something the team is excited about. I can give a glimpse of what's coming after, though. It's BlizzCon. Okay, so he's already passing through the SSERAFIM. There's a separate article yesterday. They basically said there's going to be in-game loot, in-game legendary skins. People are assuming it's already a Kiriko skin and a Diva legendary skin. And they're going to also be performing at BlizzCon. And they have they have Overwatch references in their music video, if I'm not mistaken. That's a lot. I wouldn't say that's all the SSERAFIM stuff, but that is like a big portion of the collaboration. I'm not sure if they're going to do like an in-game character group like KDA did for League of Legends, but you know, this is not a bad thing whether you're a fan of K-pop or not. Next though is BlizzCon. We'll be revealing our next hero at the event, plus a whole lot more of what's coming this year and next. We've also heard from players that they want us to take a look at our competitive system as well as our battle pass. These are two of the top priorities for the Overwatch team. We'll be detailing the direction of our reworked competitive mode at BlizzCon. Oh wow, so they really have been working on a new comp 2.0. Obviously, people have been complaining about the new system since Overwatch 2 came out. How am I going 5-1 and D-ranking? For me personally, I've always felt the system isn't inherently broken. It's the information they reveal to you is just incredibly confusing. But internally, I haven't had really bad mismatched matches. People look at people's profile, they see a rank, they're like, oh, they have to be X player. But then in most cases, it's just a decayed account, but they don't really tell you it's a person that had like MMR decay. They're not actually at that level because it's an old account. It's just more of a confusion thing, but underneath the hood, I'm sure the algorithms like actually work a bit more, but it's like, there's a word for this where people are like not misinterpreting it, because the way they interpret it is how it looks like if you don't like dive deep into it like I am or like some other people are. That is a big criticism, and I do hope they make it more clear and reveal it at BlizzCon. So that will be on November 3rd and 4th. If you're not attending it, you can watch it online and all that kind of stuff. For me, I'll be at BlizzCon. They have the Overwatch World Cup here. It'll be great. If you're at the BlizzCon, I'll be sure to let you guys know where, you know, you can meet myself and some other streamers if that, you know, tickles your fancy, or you want to stay, you know, 1,000 feet away from us because we smell, because we're gamers and stinky streamers. We'll be talking about our new take on our battle pass and shop changes a little later, most likely early next year. Speaking of our shop, there was a bit of controversy at the start of the season with the placement of our latest Moira skin in the Ultimate Battle Pass bundle. Some players felt like it was the best skin of the season and were upset that the only way to obtain the skin was to purchase one of our highest priced bundles. We do sell an Ultimate Bundle Pass every season with legendary skins in it, and will continue to do so. However, the lesson that we're taking away from this moment is to make sure that we provide more ways to acquire some of our most popular skins. That's it. We'll skip our next director's take in 2 weeks since we'll be at BlizzCon. Ought to be enough Overwatch news there to keep everyone busy. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys in game. I agree with this part. I think if you want to buy the skin separately, you can't unless you buy the whole bundle. So that's really annoying. They definitely need a new way to just acquire them individually, maybe with legacy tokens, or just buy it separately. The thing with a lot of these things is it's always like packaged with something else, and you just can't get individually. Unless, I heard it was like if you're from 3 separate countries where it's illegal to do that, they were able to buy it separately. They're looking at it. You know, it's a high priority, but obviously they're focused on BlizzCon #1, and they say early next year, that's when Bobby Kotick, the one who caused the biggest rift in Overwatch 2's development, will be gone. And then maybe they can realign themselves with Microsoft's vision on how they want to monetize and change the direction of the business. So hopefully, I'm hopeful and optimistic. People will be like, yeah, it's because you got skin in the game because, you know, you are, you know, this is only in your benefit if Overwatch succeeds and blah, blah, blah. You suck off Blizzard. No. Well, yes and no. I'm not sucking off Blizzard, but it is in my benefit if the game is in a good state. And I'm not a Doom poster. I'll criticize where things need to be criticized, like bundling it here. But I think it's fine to sell like bundles. They're a free-to-play game now. They need to make money. What the price they set it at, and you know how they bundle stuff like the PvE missions from previous seasons into like, you know, the $15 thing, but even though it's only $5, you have to buy the battle pass. I never liked that. I think that's predatory, and I think you need to have some agency to be able to choose what you want to buy without including shit that you don't want. But that is the director's take. That is my opinions on it, and that is me reading it out to you for this week. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Peace.